Satnam Aloha, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. And let me know if you can hear me, if the sound is good. Okay, and let me just get my comments up here. There we go. Oh, great. Great. Aloha, everybody. Yeah. Okay, so be sure to put down your human design type and your astrology, if you know it. That would be great. So that way you can connect with others that have a similar type or astrological signature too. Okay. Let me just get rid of this. Here. There we go. Okay. There we go. Just let me get this set up here. So today I want to talk about Mars retrograde, which is officially retrograde now. And I'm actually feeling this energy already. There we go. Okay. So this is the chart, the official chart of when Mars went retrograde. So this is the transit chart in human design. And so you can see here it's in the 31.5. Let me just get this out of the way, right? 31.5. So we're going to talk about that. And if you're new to human design, if you're new to the channel, welcome. And I use a synergy of human design, of course, and astrology and tarot and Kundalini yoga and meditation as well. So if you don't have your human designer, you're not familiar with human design, there's always an information link below in the information box, and you can get your free chart there. Okay, so this is a great way, and be sure to subscribe to my channel because this is a great way to learn about your own natal chart, because there's going to be resonance with what's going on in the transits. Okay, so let's look at some dates here with Mars, and this is an important retrograde, and you'll see why. Okay, so this is the mandala. Right, this is the mandala in human design. So Mars went retrograde in the 31st gate. So that's Leo right there. You can see the 31 in the mandala. And then December 31st, it moves into the 56, 0.6, and then it goes to 0.5, 0.4, 0.3, 0.2, and 0.1. And then it will go into the 62.6 in that way, right? Because it's going retrograde. So 62. And then it's in Cancer then. So January 6th, officially, it's in zodiac sign of Cancer. So December 6th to January 5th, it's in Leo. And then from January 6th onward, it's in Cancer. And then back when it goes direct, it goes back into Leo. It moves back into Leo. So take note of these dates. So the 62.6, January 15th, it goes retrograde in that. And then it goes into the 53, January 30th. And then it makes its way back, right? Then it makes its way back. And it will go back through Leo. So Mars goes direct February 23rd. So it's quite a while retrograde, and it's quite a while in the sign of Leo too. So, right, so it's in Mars in Cancer from January 6th to April 17th, and then Mars goes into Leo until after April 17th, and then until June 17th. So it's going over these two archetypes. So of course it's grabbing our attention, isn't it? So in human design, Mars represents what needs to be integrated, what needs to be transmuted in the collective. That's what it represents in the transit chart. And so if we go back here, right, so it's in the shadow here of arrogance, okay? So right there. So that's the 31, right? There's a 31 coming off the throat chakra there. And this is one of the leadership channels. You'll see the 31.7 and then the 1.8 and then the 33.13. These are all called leadership channels. So the 31-7 is the channel of the alpha. It's called the channel of the alpha. So it's activating just this 31st gate. So this gives us a lot of information about what needs to be transmuted, what needs to be integrated within our collective. So if we look at arrogance, this is all about language, right? So what I want to say first about these leadership channels, and I may have mentioned this before on my channel, the 31-7, these are 3 different leadership styles. So the 31-7 is concerned with the future. It's about seeing trends in the future that are coming. So it leads people into the future. The 33-13 is more about looking back to the past. So it's learning from the mistakes of the past and then leading people into the future. And then the 1-8, and incidentally, I have the 1-8. I have a leadership channel, and this is the channel of the creative role model. And the 1-8 is about now. It's about being in the present now moment and leading from that place. So and this is an individual channel, so it's I know. I don't know, I know. I don't know why I know. I just know, right? The 31-7 is more logic. It's logic based. And then the 13-33 is more about experience, right? But the 1-8 is about, I just know I know. The 1-8, right? The creative role model. This is why these live streams are quite something for me, because I never know what I'm going to say. You know, I grab some slides here and have an idea of what I'm going to cover, but I never know what I'm going to say. And that's the magic, right? It's about being in the present now moment for me. So let me know if you've got any of these leadership channels, or maybe you have one of the gates. Maybe you got the 1, but you don't have the 8, or the 33 and not the 13, or maybe you have this 31-7, right? So the 31, if we go back to the 31, so we'll look at it from the shadow. So it's the gate of influence, comes from the channel of the alpha. So it's about influence. And you can see that it's in the 5th line. Do you see that? 31.5 in Mars. It's the 5th line, right? So the keynote here is self-righteousness. It's being self-righteous. So in terms of the collective, we're going to see our leaders, right? Our leaders out there, our so-called leaders, we're going to see that they're self-interested. They don't really care about people. It's about their own power, accumulating power. And it's a 5th line. 5th lines are all about power. It's a binary. You're either leading from love, right? Or you're leading for power, for more and more power. So it's self-righteousness. So we'll start to see this in the collective. And you'll notice the movie changed. Remember, my last live tube was all about this. The movie has changed. This is like the collective is going to be focused and perceiving a different movie now. And it's all about penetrating through the illusion, right? It's looking beyond appearances, right? Beyond appearances. So to really see. So what's the magic in the 31? Okay, so right away, I just want to say that people are genetically programmed, humanity is programmed to follow certain people. Is it based on merit or integrity or truth? No, none of that. It's based on genetics. So the 31, people will follow the 31. I've got a really close friend who has this 31. And it's real, and it's in her moon position too. So she's very driven by this, the 31. And they love, the 31s, love the sound of their own voice. I'm talking shadow now. They love the sound of their own voice. They fall in love with the words coming out of their mouth, right? Out of their mouth. They're wordsmiths. They're spin doctors. The 31 are spin doctors. This is the shadow of arrogance and self-righteousness. So this is very, very manipulative. This is manipulating and controlling people through words, right? Through words and through language. So if we go back, right? Because this is, I know I can lead you, right? That's the voice of the 31 in the shadow. I know that I can lead you. And this is the brain, right? The walnut in the head. And so it all starts with language, right? Starts with giving forms, the forms that we see out in the world, names. We name them, right? So we, as the children, we're taught what the world is. That's a tree. That's a dog. That's a cat. That's a car, right? This is how we learn. It's how our brain learns language. And you can see that when you start to wake up and you come on the spiritual journey, no, a dog is not just a dog. No, a tree is not just a tree. It's very unique. It has its own unique frequency. So you can see how this affects your perception, right? So then we start assembling names, these names of the forms that we see out there that have no meaning whatsoever. They're just names, but we give so much meaning to words, and there's no meaning. That's a tree. There's no meaning behind that. There's no frequency behind that. That's just a tree. Most people see the world like this. This is this 31, right? So we assembling names, facts, and concepts, and we call that knowledge. And it's just assembling things out here in the external. Keeps us locked in matter, right? And what do people do with this? People that are really good at this, really good at assembling and combining facts and concepts and names, right? Well, what do? They create spells. That's why we have spelling. We create spells with those words and language. And then we create a sentence, so we're sentencing, putting people in a prison, right? Others in an imposed, limited reality of what life is. And these are the people that we follow, right? These are the people that we follow. And if we go back to here, like the programming partner of the 31, you go on the other side, you see? You go on the other side, and what do you get here? These are programming partners. Aquarius 41. 41 is about the story. This is the start codon, right? This is a very important position here, the 41. So this is creating stories, right? So if we go back here, it's like I'm creating a story. I'm creating a fantasy. This is how the shadow leaders work. I can really manipulate my language and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to communicate this story and this fantasy for good or bad. It could be a dystopian fantasy that could like motivate people through fear. Or it could be like this hope, right? This hope. And then it's the follow me and I will lead you. Right? So now we've got Mars in retrograde in this position. So this is a real opportunity to break out of this spell, right? Because we're in a spell. This is the Piscean trance. The Piscean age trance that we're in a spell, right? So for some reason, I've never been fooled by the words, right? Because you get seduced by those words. So if you just think that you're this body, I'm just this body with my 5 senses and my brain and my mind, then you're going to get sucked into this shadow, right? And how you work is, okay, there's arrogance, but there's also defer. So this is giving your power away. This is the shadow of arrogance. It's the shadow of this 31, right? So, you can either defer or be arrogant yourself, right? Arrogant yourself. Now, remember with shadow work that it's a lot easier to see the shadow in other people than yourself, right? So you're going to be on the lookout with Mars retrograde here, because Mars retrograde is really taking out the steam, taking out the wind in your sails, right? Right here. This is ego. Right? This is ego. This is all about the ego not being fed by this willpower, right? Until February, right? It's going to be retrograde. So our energy level is just going to be all over the place, but we're not going to be able to feed the ego with Mars retrograde. So this is a real time to review, to go back to, okay, maybe this is all about standing up to this shadow, right? That I'm not going to follow you. I'm not going to be talked out of my feelings and my own truth by somebody who can manipulate language. No, I'm not I'm not going to fall for that anymore. And maybe you did in the past. Well, Mars retrograde, right? This is narcissism, right? The shadow of the 31, right? Is narcissism. Has a taint of that for sure. So with the Mars retrograde, it's like, okay, you're going to get a second chance. You're going to get a do-over, right? So this is like facing certain situations, certain people, organizations or whatever, and then really standing up for yourself. So this is the journey. I think I put it here. It's the journey of humility, because that's the city, right? So the 31 is the arrogance, and I'm just going to give all my power over to this person that's so good with the word salad, right? They sound like they know what they're talking about. They're so good at like manipulating facts and figures and arguing and this and that, and they're completely locked into their intellect. When you stop being locked into your intellect and your mind and your not self, as soon as you're not self, here's how simple it is. As soon as you are your not self, remember it's all about being your authentic self now. That's where all your power is. As soon as you are in your not self, you are in your mind. Not self and mind are the same. Not self, mind, ego, and not self are the same. They're the same. You can exchange these words right here. So as soon as you're there and the not self, you're not in your power, and you can be easily seduced by this 31 because it's a genetic conditioning program. It's very, very powerful to be following these people that may or may not be correct. And we live in a shadow frequency, so most of them are not correct, right? So you want to go to get to humility, okay? Because that's the divine gift here. To get to the humility is to go to frequency, right? I talk about this. It's all about frequency for the cross of the sleeping phoenix. So you listen to the frequency behind the words. That's how easy it is, because those words have no meaning. What's the meaning behind those words is the frequency. What's that person's frequency? Are they in a love frequency? Are they in a fear frequency because they want recognition? They want to be heard. That's the 31 shadow. I need recognition. I need to be heard. I so desperately care about what other people think of me, right? You listen to the frequency and then you get to the truth, right? The truth behind the words. And so you don't want to be outsourcing your power right now. It's all about keeping your power inside. That's why I laugh at these trolls sometimes that are like accusing me of manipulation and because I use the tarot and it's like all I'm doing is manipulating you to your own self, to your own power. Never ever have I said follow me. I know, right? I've never ever said that. I've always pointed you back to yourself. And that's a true teacher. The teachers that are saying follow me and I know what's right for you, no, you don't want to be following them. You want to be following your own self, right? So this is about leading yourself, this 31. But also accepting guidance, right? The 7 is about guidance too. So if the guidance resonates as truth for me, then yeah, I'll take that help. Yeah, but ultimately I'm making my decisions, my own decisions for myself. So I love this image, and I know it's a popular one, and it's a little bit cliche by now, but this is what arrogance is. Arrogance and ignorance go together. And you're like, well, how does that work? Because arrogance is like, I know I'm superior to everybody else, right? I know what's correct and what's not, right? I have anger towards other people because I know it all. Arrogance, there's no room for any openness, right? There's no room for the divine, right? So what's the ignorance is the ignorance to this, right? This deeper level. And this is even a limiting form, because anytime you try to even describe the infinite, you're putting it in a box, you're limiting it in some way. You can't help not to, because we have to use language, right? So this is the ignorance with arrogance, is the ignorance like, oh, I can figure everything out. I can figure my way out of this pickle. I can right? I can use my intellect to get what I want. That's the ego. I can manipulate and control other people. Blah, 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 blah. That's arrogance, right? That arrogance. I have this all figured out, what I can see, right? And then ignorant to this, what's really running the show, which is divinity here. Okay. I think I brought I'm not supposed to bring my notebook. Okay. Okay. So the biggest fear is the fear of what other people will think of me with this arrogance and needing to be heard and recognized. That's another big one. So in terms of you, so the shadow works two ways, right? So the shadow could be I'm giving all my power away, or I'm manipulating and controlling other people. So you've got to really watch this if you have this natally, this 31, right? If you're leading from power, like I just want power, I want more and more power, I want more and more money, because that's interchangeable with power now on this planet. You've got to really watch it, like leading people, because, you know, these false leaders are coming down. We're seeing it. Like the governments are starting to come down. Are you seeing it out in the world? The cross of planning is collapsing. All these people that held power positions, they're falling from grace, right? So to watch this, if you have the 31, like you really need to humble that ego, right? Before you even dare to lead people. And the best leaders are the best leaders are cornered, you know? They're cornered, which means like they're forced. We want you to lead us. We want you to lead us. Please lead us. Right? They're the best leaders because they don't want it. They don't want that position because it comes with a lot of responsibility to be a leader, right? A lot of responsibility. You've got to be on your game and you can't be seduced by power, right? So you got to get really good with the divine, humbling yourself to the divine always, right? So the 31-5, so this is the collective. It's going to see these false leaders with the 25-46. They're going to be able to look through the Maya and beyond the appearances and hopefully beyond the language. They're so fooled by language, right? And then this is the tarot card for that. And this is the 5 of Wands. And the key word here is retribution, retribution. So there could be like, oh, that person's coming back into my life, you know, and I know that I shirked my responsibility. I should have said the truth to them, but I didn't, and now it's my second chance. And retribution may be coming up, right? Because it's conflict. It's all the wands up here, so it's getting in conflict with someone else instead of, you know, humility. Humility here in this sense of the word, it's not about a behavior. It's about an energy. It's an energy. It's not about your behavior because someone who's very arrogant can seem like they're humble and with their behavior. But again, you go back to the frequency. That's false humility, right? Look at my behavior. I'm doing all these philanthropic things out in the world, right? I'm humble. That's my behavior. Now you go to the frequency. Go to frequency. So there could be like this sense of retribution. So you have to watch that because that also is the shadow of arrogance. Well, they taught me last time, so I'm going to top them this time. I'm going to dominate them this time, right? So you have to watch this and to get clear with the conflict inside you, right? So what do? It's a 5th line, right? So if you have a 5th line profile, right here, and then the energy is totally in the 5th line with the 35.5 and 5.5. Forgiveness, right? Forgiveness. Whenever you got retribution or punishment, because this is about punishment, you have to bring forgiveness. And who do you forgive is you. I forgive myself for not having the courage to stand up last time, right? I forgive this other person, but this is my spiritual lesson right now that I have to stand up. I have to stand up. Okay, let me check the comments and then I want to go into a little bit of astrology. Okay. I'm just looking at the comments quickly. Citrum the Traveler. I like that. Where are you? Okay. There. Okay, came down good. So Citrum the Traveler says, I have the 1-8, and I find if I try to prepare for something, it doesn't go as planned, so I don't bother trying to script what I'm going to say anymore. I leap into it. Totally. So I have the same thing, the 1-8. As soon as I prepare, it's just like it blows up in my face. Blows up in my face. That's good. Thank you for that comment. And then let's look at some more comments. Okay. Oh, you do, Lori Brown. You've got the 33-13 and 31-7. Yeah. You almost have all of them. You're just missing the 8. Yeah. So listen closely. Mars retrograde is really going to be banging you on the alpha, channel of the alpha. Okay. Hermes has 31.4, your Mercury. Okay. Yeah, I totally feel this. Plus Mars is still in opposition to Pluto too. So there's going to be a lot of conflict in the next couple months with people. And it's just about reclaiming your power. And sometimes we have to act it out. That's what Mars is all about. It's like you have to take action on it. It's masculine. It's our masculine energy, right? And retrograde makes us really reflect, right? Because Mars can be like the gunslinger, right? I'm going to start shooting and then I'll ask questions later, you know? But with Mars retrograde, that's not going to work for us. We're being really called to reflect, right? And review how we act in the world, right? How we act in the world. Okay. Okay. So Sea Moon, I've got 31 too, but it's on the red side. Yeah. Okay. Well, you've got the 41. Lori says, I've got the 41 red, and I've been seen as arrogant. I totally don't believe I know it all. Right. Okay. So just open your mind. That's all this Mars retrograde is asking us to do, is just open your mind. And you know one of my favorite mantras, you know this, I know that I don't know. I know that I don't know. Let me bring it to me, because we can't see our shadow. We cannot, it's impossible to see our own shadow. We can only see it through other people. So you have to become humble, which is like, I know, no, I'm not arrogant. It's like, well, perhaps I am arrogant. I'm ready to see that during this process, this journey into humility through this transit, right? It's just like opening yourself up. Right? Because then the intellect is like, got you locked down. This is about breaking you out of the prison of the mind. The 31 is all about this Maya. The Maya is made up of billions and billions of words and language. So we have to be free from language for that solar plexus mutation, right? We're moving out of that mental awareness system and we're coming into spirit awareness, which is frequency. So it's a whole paradigm shift that we're going through, right? And these transits are helping us along if we use them, but know that, okay, I've got the 31s activated for me, right? Like right now, but it's not mine. Like I don't have it natally, right? Just to know that. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking, and the mind wants that. The intellect wants that. Because you don't want to be seen as weak either, right? Especially if you're looking for the approval of other people. It's like, well, I have to fake it, And especially if you've got, in terms of your chart, if you've got this, the ajna center is open, then you're going to be conditioned to like, I have to be mentally certain. I have to know, right? So you want to be forgiving yourself because this is a powerful conditioning field that we've been under, right? And we're completely undoing it now. Okay. Okay, that's an interesting comment. That's someone, I just want to grab it. Okay. Cymactic Mage. It's an intriguing name. All words are alive. They live through the feeling and intent that gives them the life. But by who? By us. We're giving these words meaning, and we're bringing them alive, these words. But they do have power, because we're not just this lifetime, all of our past lives, all of our ancestors, right? The words, or you know yourself, trigger words. There's certain phrases that you heard when you were in childhood, when you went through a traumatic experience, and they can pop you off. This is the Mars retrograde, right? So words do have power, but it's the power that we've given them, right? These words. Okay. But so you have to remember that you are the power. We're going through an inner technological transmutation, which is like we're realizing that we are the technology, not the technology out here. It's the technology within. Okay. So what I want to do is quickly go through, before we go into the types, is to go through the astrology, just really, really fast. And there's lots of stuff on YouTube with astrology and this Mars retrograde. But I want to show you where to look, right? So the place where you want to look. So you want to look at the houses here. There we go. Right, so we're going to look at this. And let me just get my overlays. Oh, there we go. Okay, so we're going to do this really, really quickly. So it's going to bring up unresolved issues around your, in terms of Mars retrograde, right? Or unresolved issues about you standing up for yourself, your use of anger, how you use anger. Because anger is a good thing, you know? If used correctly. It's the Agni. It's in the solar plexus, right? The fire. We need the fire and the passion. Right? And this is how we change and evolve and transform. So Mars retrograde will help you look at how you've been using your Agni or not been using your fire energy and your passion energy, right? Because ultimately you want to be transmuting into your authentic self, right? The fire, this is the sleeping phoenix. It's fire energy, right? It's waking us up to our authenticity. So we're going to see in terms of our collective leaders, we're going to see secrets coming out with Pluto and Mars in opposition, right? We're going to see lots of truth coming out into the public. There's going to be triggers in our committed relationships too, as well. And it's really showing us that we can't sweep our emotions under the carpet any longer. It's too intense now. So if you're in Aries, let me do this. So if you're in Aries, sun, moon, or rising, then it's going to be affecting your, where did it go? It's going to be affecting your fifth house, right? So if you're a parent, right? If you're a parent, because this rules children too, you may have some stuff around children. This is about, Mars retrograde here in this position can make you a little bit doubtful, a little bit insecure about your creativity, right? Your creative expression, right? And so there can be potential conflict here in the fifth house. So with children, a romantic partner, right? Maybe things aren't going so great in the romance department through this Mars retrograde. So it's going to really get you to look at ways in which, this is enjoyment. The fifth house is all about enjoyment. So that's what I would look at with Aries. So you could be having some conflict with children, right? Or a romantic partner having to stand up in that way. Okay. And then we've got Taurus. Let me see here. I want this to be faster. I feel like I got like plates up in the air here. Okay. Okay. Just take our time. That's what Mars retrograde's about, is take your time. Okay, so Taurus here is in the 4th house. So this could be standing up, right? That shadow of arrogance, standing up to like a mother figure, because this is mother too. So it could be your actual mother or a mother figure in your life, right? It's going to bring up a lot of emotions stuff for the Taurus around home. Maybe you have to stand up for something in your home environment here. And then also about your mother, but going back. This is your early development, so back to childhood. Inner child work would be really good for the Taurus, sun, moon, or rising. Okay. So family dynamics, right? Looking into family dynamics. It can bring up stuff around your family that you have to stand up and transmute this. Remember, Mars is all about transmuting something, right? That has to do with the 4th house. Okay. Okay. And the shadow, too, with the 4th house is like, it's the shadow of Leo is narcissist. So you may have to be dealing maybe with a narcissist mother, right? Either your own narcissist mother or a narcissist mother figure you'd be standing up to. And maybe you've been silent, zipping your lip, right? When you're being called to speak the truth. Okay. Remember, this is all about you growing. This journey of humility is you growing into your higher self. Okay. And let's go for Gemini quickly. So Gemini is the 3rd house, right? So maybe having to stand up and transmute this shadow of arrogance, right? With siblings or neighbors. It's about your communication, right? It's about how you communicate. Mars retrograde. So like really re-looking at this, Mars retrograde wants you to re-look at this arrogance. So you would definitely be dealing with some arrogance in your life through siblings, your community, your neighbor, your neighborhood. So you want to look at the way that you're communicating. And there could be frustration here coming up, right, with this. So this is about slowing down and getting grounded, right? Making sure that you're connected to the heart, right, with Gemini rising. So the heart, because that's humility is when you stop like in your intellect and your communication. Well, here's my rebuttal, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say that. And then you're just present, and you're in your heart, and then you speak from that place. And to be in the heart, it's the trust that the heart will organize your language. And then it's heart-based language, and that's your authenticity, right? So that's Gemini. And then we'll go for Cancer quickly. Okay. And Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, is in the 2nd house. So Mars retrograde, right? With the arrogance, well, this is going to affect your finances. And there's nothing more humbling than having your finances delayed, right? I'm using all this willpower and I make things happen and I earn money and blah, blah, and I'm on top of my game. And then Mars retrograde comes into town and it's like, deflates your confidence. And then you get to see what's underneath that Cancer, sun, moon, or rising, which is self-worth issues. Oh my God, my self-worth has been so conflated with my finances. My net worth and my self-worth, right, are combined here. So you get to look at this. And so remember, everything happening, it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. All these things that are happening in the external with Mars retrograde, because you want to get humble. This is a journey of humility with this transit. Okay. So, and then we've got, and it can affect your confidence too, right? So maybe you're not used to that, or you're probably Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising. Yeah, you are used to insecurity. But it's also, as a Cancer rising, you're learning about emotion. Your true security is you're really longing for emotional security. But this Mars retrograde will show you, oh, I'm looking for security through the material when I really just want emotional security that you can only give yourself, right? So then we got Leo, right? Leo, Sun, Moon, or Rising, and that's going to be in the first house. So there could be some arrogance around your body, right? Around your body and your sense of self and how you show up in the world. So Leo rising, Sun or Moon, they're naturally confident, right? They're ruled by the Sun, so they can have some real confidence issues because Mars retrograde kind of makes you limp, right? You're kind of limp. You're not as confident as you're used to. So this is like really getting you to look at getting your strength, not from your ego. So maybe you've been relying on your ego for that sense of confidence. Maybe you have some ego attachments here, right? And how you show up with in the world. And then you're realizing that your true strength comes from your soul, right? And that's humbling here in this position for the Leos. There can be an identity crisis. There can be low energy. Right? Low energy. There's nothing like drawing that ego out, right? Drawing that ego out by taking things away, like taking away the energy that you can't, you can't, what was I going to say? You can't make yourself have energy. Like this has been I've got Leo in the first house here. There's nothing more humbling than out of the blue, right? Because I've got the channel of emoting, right? I've got the 5539 defined. So that's the wave. And I have no control over my wave. I have no control, and I'm really surrendered to that, right? So there's nothing more humbling than having your energy taken away from you. It's like you really realize that you have no control, like really, right? Over the external, that all you can do is surrender. All you can do is surrender. So this is the path of humility, is surrender. So really focusing on self-care, all signs, all zodiac signs and types, just focus on your self-care. Okay. And then let's go for Virgo. And Virgo is the 12th house, right? So there can be a lot of self-doubt that comes up, like out of the blue for the Virgos. There can be hidden fears and desires that come up. This is like the ruled by Neptune, right? The 12th house is Pisces, is a Piscean house. There can be a spiritual crisis here, right? Your whole belief system can be up for review, right? So to watch this. And Mars in the 12th house, you're going to have trouble sleeping, right? Because this is the house of sleeping. So you can have nightmares and things like that. So really up your self-care around sleep time. Like don't be on your computer last minute, like turning off the router and relaxing more into sleep. And especially if you're a projector, you should be doing that anyway. But the generators and MGs, they kind of just collapse. Just kind of take your time sleeping, maybe some magnesium, a hot bath, things like that, so that you're completely relaxed. And that will help to offset the Mars in the 12th house, because there could be trouble sleeping there for sure. And then Libra here. Right there. Libra is the 11th house. So there could be standing up to friends, right? Some friends, or may have some arrogant friends around you. So standing up to friends that maybe that you love. I'm not going to say anything to them. They don't listen to me. And here it comes, the lesson. You can't escape your lesson, especially if you have a soul's destiny to learn from a certain person and they're playing a role in your life, right? So friends, groups that you belong to, I would look at that. Even the internet, the 11th house rules the internet. So fighting online, maybe you've got some online friends that that you have to stand up to, right there. And then Scorpio, whoops. Okay, and then Scorpio, sun, moon, or rising, it's in the 10th house. So this is about your career. So this could be standing up to an arrogant boss, right? Or someone that you perceive as having power over you. So this could be a father figure, like a father figure. Could even be little g, too, like an organization. It could even be your partner that is more of in a parental role with you, right? So it's standing up. It's standing up to this authority figure. And taking your power back, right? Because the shadow of this 31st gate is arrogance, but it's also deferring your power, right? So watch that. You'll have an opportunity to stand up to someone in a position of authority. And it has to do with your career, right? It has to do with your career. And so often what happens is we're given tests, like spiritual tests, and it's like, oh, here's a fiery hoop that I have to jump through. And there's certain people in our life that play that role. It's like, oh, they're playing the role of the fiery hoop for me. But on the other side of it is this, right? This is your sole purpose. Okay. So then let's go for Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising. And the Sages are in the 9th house. And so Sages are not going to like this because they like travel. They like traveling. The 9th, right? And this is a Sagittarius house. Anyway, it's the 9th house, right? Traditionally ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter. So Mars retrograde could put like delays on traveling if you have traveling plans. This is also about spiritual deception. Spiritual deception. So a spiritual teacher in your life, you will see this arrogance. You possibly see this arrogance, right? The shadow of arrogance of somebody that can manipulate language in a spiritual way, right? In order to manipulate and control you. And remember that the movie changed because we're in the 2546. So the movie that everybody's watching now is able to look beyond the appearances, right? So if you're having anger, Sagittarius, right? If you're having anger at a spiritual teacher coming up, like you want to trust that, right? Because there's correct use of our anger. Correct use of our anger. Because remember, retrogrades, they amplify the energy. The correct use of our anger is to show when a boundary has been overpassed, when somebody has crossed a boundary, right? That's when you know. So you want to trust this is for all the signs. You want to trust your Mars retrograde energy coming up. It's showing you something, but it's showing you've got to act on it, right? Or not. Act or not. And you'll know. Oh, usually I'm like the gunslinger and I'm just like reacting, right? Especially if I'm in Aries, moon, sun, rising, right? I shoot everybody and then I ask questions later, right? I think I have to hold back. I have to restrain myself this time. Or maybe I'm a Pisces, sun, moon, rising, and it's like, no, I don't say anything, right? I don't say anything. And then it's like, oh no, I need to act. Like you'll know what your flavor is, like what type of person you are, if you have to stand up or not, right? You'll just know. And your Mars energy will let you know. So there could be karmic lessons too for the Sagittarius, sun, moon, or rising. It can feel very karmic, the people that you're dealing with, this arrogant, the shadow of arrogance. And then we've got Capricorn. And this is in the 8th house. So this is about your marriage partner, right? The Capricorn, your marriage partner here that you have to stand up to with the shadow of arrogance. Or maybe you're on the other side as a Capricorn. Maybe you're you're overpowering your partner with your use of language and manipulate. So you could get confronted. The 8th house, get confronted with that. There could be power, right? The 8th house rules power, so there could be power struggles here for the Capricorn with your intimate partner around shared resources, right? And needing to transform, which means needing to come into humility through this transit. And then Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising, that's the 7th house, and that's your relationships. So there can be a lot of conflict in your relationships, right? It could be a lot more challenging. So say you have a partner, because it's the 7th house, so it's your partner confronting you on the shadow of arrogance, right? So usually my partner doesn't say anything. My partner agrees with everything I say. Suddenly they got a backbone. Where did they get that from, right? Aquarius. Or it can work the other way too, where you have to confront your partner, right, with the truth, with the shadow of arrogance. Okay. So either one's deferring or one's overpowering for the Aquarius, sun, moon, or rising. And then we got Pisces, sun, moon, or rising. That's the 6th house. This is health stuff, right? Health stuff. So there could be a return of some health issues. There can be delays and frustrations with your job, routines, right? Routines. Have to face new challenges. And this is about getting good with your work rest ratio, right? You may have to deal with some enemies, right? So the 12th house is hidden enemies. These are like open enemies, or the 6th house. So you may have to deal with that too, right? Okay. So that's everybody, eh? Okay. Let me look at some comments and then we'll go to the human design. And let me know if you enjoyed that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Okay, so we're going to go to the human design types here. Actually, let's start with the twin flames. The twin flames, yeah. You have some water. Okay. So for the twin flames, and let me know if you're a twin flame, either in the chat or in the comment section. And so we're talking about this Mars retrograde for the twin flames. That's activating the 31st gate right there in the 5th line. So about taking your power back. Okay. So remember, within the twin flame journey, it's about coming into union with yourself. With yourself first. And this 31 is very directly connected because it's Mars retrograde. And twin flames, you want to check out your astrology too, your sun, moon, and rising, and your human design type. And we're going to look at how do I take this journey of humility and what's stopping me? What's the issue? Or the chaser? And remember, Mars Retrograde is not necessarily about taking action from your ego and will power. Okay, so we're going to start with the Chaser, the Venusian, divine counterpart. And it doesn't matter if the Venusian can be in a male form or a female form, and the Mars can be in a male form or a female form. It's all about energy. It's all about energy. Okay. So that's the Chaser, and then let's do one for the Runner. Okay. Okay. And then the guidance. So you can see twin flames, there's the conflict, right? That Five of Wands, conflict incoming with other people. Because remember, we're still in this Aries, Libra nodal axis until January. So we're still in this school of relationships. So a lot of this has to do with our relationships. Okay. What's the guidance for the Chaser? What's the guidance for the Chaser, please? And what's the guidance for the Runner? What's the guidance for the Runner? Okay, so this is for the Chaser, and remember, this is the one that's seemingly chasing the other partner, their divine counterpart, but what they're really doing is they're running from themselves. They're running from their own call, because this is a call, this is a spiritual path, and the spiritual path is to bring you into unity with the self, with the soul. That's what your real work is not to listen to the ego and be chasing your divine counterpart. It's to chase your own self, right? So this is what's stopping you here, and this is the people pleasing. People pleasing here, people pleaser. So let's bring it into for the Chaser. So this is definitely fits with this 31, right? Because this is the 31 is manipulative. Can be manipulative, right? It's the shadow of arrogance. So it's using language. And you're like, wait a minute. That's not me. I'm not arrogant as the Chaser. But it's using language. Because with the people pleasing, it's telling people what they want to hear. What you think they want to hear. Right? So this has to be cleaned up. Remember, there's no union. There's no union with the self. There's no union with your divine counterpart until you clean up these codependent, because this is codependent right here, is people pleasing. And this would be like, I'm deferring my power. Do you see? It's still arrogance. I'm deferring my power over to this other person in my life, right? Not necessarily the twin. I'm going to tell them what they want to hear. Because I want to avoid conflict. I care so much about what other people think about me. That's the 31 here. So it's really trying to get, right? So remember, as twin flames, you're learning about unconditional love. You're learning about unconditional love. So love without conditions. What does that mean? We haven't seen that on the planet. Just with the animals do it really well. They love us unconditionally. But this is what holds the twins together, is unconditional love. There's unconditional love. That's why the ego doesn't understand it, right? So here's the arrogance in the twin flame journey, this is the ego. Well, this doesn't make sense. There's no logic to this. Right? This person is so different than me. I really don't know much about them. I don't know the details of their life. The ego makes up a lot of stories. This is the 31st gate, right? It's a bit logical. It's very logical. Meanwhile, this is what's really going on, right? And it's even bigger than this. This is the spiritual. Or you could look at this as the 5D, right? This is the unconditional love that's holding the twins together. And that's what's bringing, all this is just, this is the cause, right? And the effect is this. It's very, very limited, isn't it? Very, very limited here. Okay, on the twin flame journey there. So the chaser's got to dig this up. And it's just all it takes, right? All it takes for the chaser is just to be aware. It's aware. Oh, I just caught myself. I just caught myself and I said something to that person I didn't really mean, right? But I said it to them so that they would like me, right? I would avoid any kind of conflict, because this is what, when you start speaking the truth, you're going to create this in your world, because, right, especially the people that are not aligned with you and your authenticity, you're going to create this. These people, this Five of Wands in conflict, they don't want to be their authentic self, or maybe they're fighting. They're in that process. This is the ego fighting, right? Because it doesn't want to merge. Doesn't want to merge. This is the journey of humility. It doesn't want to merge with the soul. So there can be conflict that comes up, right? And this ego knows that. And that's why it's like, just don't talk about that, or, right, censoring yourself. Don't speak to the truth about them, how you really feel about this, right? So this is people pleasing. It's trying to get to this. It's trying to get to, let's look at this again, trying to get to this unconditional love when it's already there. This unconditional love is already inside you. Right? And that's what the twin flame journey is about, is for you to go deep, deep, deep and unite with yourself, unite with this unconditional love, right? And that's the guidance. You got the Hermit card. So the Hermit card is saying go within, right? Reflect, withdraw, go into solitude and merge with this, so you can let go of this people-pleasing ego, this arrogant ego, because it's creating stress, right? With the Ten of Wands, it's creating a lot of stress and struggle and burnout. This is burning you out. Okay, so that's for the chaser. And then let's go to the runner here. And the runner's got a similar vibe here. Okay, the runner's got, what would other people think of me? That's the 31. Right? What would other people think of me here? In my decisions, let's bring it back to the twin. What would other people think if I left this karmic relationship, or I moved out of this city to be closer to my twin, or if I did this, or if I followed my intuition and my heart, right? What would people think, right? So this is a fear of judgment, and a fear of rejection, right? So this is outsourcing your life. Basically, you're not living your own life. You're living someone else's life. It's a bit of a people-pleasing dynamic too, isn't it? Like, I'm worried about what other people think of me, which is a little bit of people-pleasing, right? And I'm living someone else's life. I'm not living my own life. I'm not living in truth, right? And then you got the fishing for compliments with it. So that's seeking validation. I'm seeking validation from other people of how I should live my life. I don't trust myself, right? I don't trust my higher self to make my own decisions, right? So this is following. It's following this 31 right here. Following someone else that has this shadow of arrogance that's telling you how to live. Trying to please them. And then the guidance is there. The Five of Pentacles, which you could read this as separation. This is a twin flame separation card, right? And it's scarcity consciousness, and it's like make a choice. The Two of Swords is like to make a choice. So, I mean, if you're a twin flame runner, which I doubt you are, right? Maybe one or two runners come on the slide to watch this, but it's like to make a choice. The runner has to make a choice, right? And the guidance here is like you can see there's light here, there's warmth here, there's pentacles here, there's abundance here, right? But it's choosing to look down, right? It's like purposefully choosing to look down and not to look what's in front of them. The abundance and this blessing of this twin flame is a blessing for you on your spiritual journey, but it takes humility. It takes humility, and that's to get the ego out of the way, right? This is the Five of Pentacles right here. Scarcity, locked out, and you're not even seeing this. This is arrogance. For the runners, I'm only seeing this on the 3D, right? I'm not seeing this magic, right? This is a magical connection. That's why people don't understand it, because this is a blessing that's not given to just anyone, right? It's your soul's destiny. Your soul has chosen this, right? So it's about embracing this magic for the runner, and it's about making a choice, just making a choice. Difficult choice, right? So that's the journey of humility for the twin flame. Okay, so let's go to the generators right here. Okay. That's right. Okay, so let's go for the generators. And we're talking about this Mars retrograde generators. And be sure to check out your astrological too at the beginning of the video. I'll see if I need to timestamp that. I'll probably timestamp it. Okay. So we're talking about arrogance. The shadow of arrogance. So Mars retrograde is taking you on the journey of humility. And the humility is humbling the ego. So generators, this could be a redo-over for you. Having to stand up to a person, right? An organization, something in your life that you've got to stand up to. Okay. And it's about not allowing yourself to be manipulated and controlled through the shadow of arrogance, which is the skillful use of language in order to control and manipulate others. Okay. And to follow others. So you want to start following yourself and your own inner authority, which is your sacral. For a generator, that's your strategy, is to follow your sacral. So what's the ego that you've got to deal with here? Okay. And then let's see what the guidance is. Where's the guidance for the generators? Okay. So the ego card for the generator is called Withdraw. And then the guidance is the High Priestess. It's the High Priestess. So Withdraw. So with Mars in retrograde, right, for the generators. So the Mars in retrograde in the 31.5, this is you listening to your ego that's telling you to withdraw from conflict, because this energy with Mars in retrograde in Leo in the 31st gate is asking that you stand up. You stand up for yourself. Right? So maybe in the past, you withdrew. I don't want to deal with this Five of Wands energy, right? I don't want to deal with this conflict, right? I'm just going to withdraw. That's my strategy. This is a strategy I used in childhood, right? I just withdrew, right? I just went belly up. It's like, why bother? Why bother? I can't. It's not, there's no fire in me, right? That's because your fire's getting buried, right? And it comes across as depression and low energy, or it may even come out as like some kind of health problem too, right? Depending. So this is like a trigger, like I got triggered with the 31. That person is so logical, like there's no reason why I should be angry. They manipulate my language, my language and what I'm saying. They can argue circles around me with their words. That's this 31 shadow, right, of arrogance. I'm just going to defer my power and I'm just going to go inside, right? And to withdraw myself into, right? And not express. I'm not going to express what's going on inside me because I feel shut down. I feel shut down, right? So this is saying that you need to make an effort now with Mars retrograde, because you're not going to be able to bury these emotions, this anger that's going to come up. You're not going to be able to bury it, right? And it's telling you that it's time to express yourself. It's time to express your truth, right? And then the guidance is the High Priestess. And you may say, well, this is a withdrawing card too, but this is a different energy. This withdrawing card is to withdraw in your ego, right? This is withdrawing into your ego and your mind, right? And then playing the victim. Well, I'm just a victim and they're right. They're always right. I'm wrong. I'm inferior. And then you listen to the story. Remember, this is 31 and 41 is the programming partner. This is the story. I'm listening to this person's story, right? I'm listening to this person. This person's telling me who I am, right? So I'm just going to listen to them and I'm just going to withdraw and not say anything. Well, this is withdrawing to your soul, the High Priestess, and this is listening to your intuition. This is listening to your intuition, right? It's going to your higher power. It's going to your higher power generators here. In refusing to withdraw, right? In that way, not from a victim way, because this is empowering. This withdrawing card, that's disempowering. This is putting you in your power. Mars retrograde wants you in your power. So it's empowering to go into this, like to be humble. This is a journey of humility, right? You are in the shadow of arrogance. You're deferring your power. You're in this shadow. Mars, for the generators, for all the other types, is saying this is what needs to be transmuted on the planet right now, is following these false leaders. So who's this false leader in your life? It's time to stand up to them now, right? This is the journey of humility. And you're not going to be able to battle them without this. And this is humbling the ego. And that's this. So saying a prayer, I'm humbling my ego. It's like I feel powerless in this situation, whoever this person is, and I'm just going to listen to my higher self. And when I speak, I'm not going to speak from my intellect. I'm not going to battle shadow with shadow. You'll just stay in shadow, right? You won't win. You won't get anywhere, right? This is horizontal. I'm battling on the horizontal. You want to go vertical. And going vertical means humility, right? You're going to a higher source. You're going to the real power. If you want to look at it like this, like the real power. This is your source energy. And then I'm going to speak from this place, right? So if you want to look at it even in your body, is to go to your navel. Even to speak from your navel, right? Speak from your navel. There's a lot of power there. And then the trust that the words, because people that are in the 31, like I told you, they love the sound of their own voice. And they're very skillful and masterful with words and language. So how that 31 will work is you're trying to express yourself, right? You're trying to express yourself authentically, which takes, if you're new at it, it takes time and space, right? You need time and space to express yourself. And then you've got this 31 coming at you like, oh, you pronounced that word wrong. Or no, that's not the right meaning of that word, because they're so good at the forms out here. And you're expressing from a true place, right? An authentic place. You're expressing from the frequency of your authentic self. You want to stand up to that. Like, this does not matter. You're trying to block me from expressing myself in a truthful, authentic place. Don't come at me with grammar rules, right? Or how to pronounce words properly, or this should be the correct meaning. This is a total domination of the shadow of the 31. You don't want to play that game anymore, right? What you want to do is set a boundary. And Mars in retrograde is like, I need to set a boundary, which means you need to shut that mouth and listen to me. You need to be quiet and you need to listen to me now, right? And then you give yourself time to express, right? Give yourself time to express. So this can be very annoying, the 31st shadow. And it's, I'm sure people can relate to that, right? So trusting your intuition and trusting your inner voice. So this is about a deep, deep trust, generators, and your inner voice here. Yeah. That it will arrange the words perfectly, right? And sometimes, some people can have like beautifully sounding words, but there's no meaning behind them because there's no authentic frequency behind them. It's all spoken from the mind and the head and the intellect, right? It's got no juice. It's got no juice. Okay. Anything else for the generators? Okay. And let's go for the manifesting generators here. So manifesting generators, we're talking about Mars turning retrograde, and it's kicking us off in the 31st gate. It's the gate of influence. It's part of the channel of the Alpha. It's a leadership channel. And Mars in retrograde is calling us to do a do-over. So this is about standing up, right? This is about no longer following these false leaders. The leaders who are able to, this is genetic, that are able to manipulate. They're skillful, they're masterful with words and language that they can manipulate, and it's all in order to manipulate and control the other. Okay, so there's a standing up that needs to happen for all the types. So you want to check out your astrology too for a better sense of where in your life that's going to take place. So this is like a spiritual test so that you can claim the power back, right? Because this is the shadow of arrogance, the 31. And arrogance can be, I'm superior to you, I know everything, and you know nothing. And the other side of that shadow is, oh, you do know everything, and I'm going to defer my power to you, right? And I'm going to follow you. I'm going to follow you. Okay. So let's see what the ego is. So it's really the journey of humility. That's the city of the 31 is humility. Okay. Okay. So what do we have for the manifesting generators? So we're going to see this out in the collective too, right? Because Mars is opposing Pluto. Some more secrets about our leaders coming out, more truth about our leaders. And this arrogance is completely self-serving, this shadow. So what is the manifesting generators? Need to know. Okay. And then what's the guidance for the manifesting generators? What is the guidance for the manifesting generators? Okay. Well, you got two. Okay. So the manifesting generator's got the no accountability card. And then for guidance, the Ace of Pentacles, and then the Ten of Cups. Right there. Well, right away I go to this, because this, the Five of Wands, correlates to the first decan of Leo. And this is this 31.5. This is the keynote of self-righteousness, this 31. So Five of Wands, no accountability, no accountability. So this would definitely fit with the 31st shadow. So remember that we see the shadow, and it's a lot easier to see the shadow in the other person. So no accountability is a refusal to apologize. That would totally fit with this arrogance, right? So not apologizing. Taking no responsibility for mistakes, right? So this is like, it's everybody else's fault. With the 31, it's everybody else's fault. I had nothing to do with it. It's their incompetence, right? It's their lack of knowledge. They're not intelligent. They're stupid, right? That's how the 31 would talk. And so accountability, just even the word accountability, it's like you're accounting. Right? It's taking responsibility for your life, what you attract into your reality. So you're either dealing with somebody, right, who has this 31 that takes no accountability, that refuses to apologize, right? It's everybody, maybe they blame you, they scapegoat you, they project onto you. It's your fault. You made the mistake. That could be happening. They could shut you down, right? This is shutting another person down, right? Especially if your emotions, if you have emotions coming up with this Mars in retrograde, right? The 31 can shut down, like, nah, no, you're hysterical, or this is off, right? That you're feeling this way. You shouldn't be feeling this way. But they're saying it in a way that can manipulate you, because it's taking you, manifesting generator, out of your emotions. And then you want to go up into your head, right? You want to go up into your head. And as soon as you're in your head, where are you? You are not self. You're not self, right? Like I said at the beginning, not self and the mind and ego are the same. And when you're not self, you are not in your power. You're not in your power, and then you're in the shadow, and you're fighting shadow with shadow, and you won't win. You won't win. So remember, you've got to take the third option, right? The third option. So this is either deferring, it's either becoming arrogant yourself and trying to top that other person, or deferring and then you become the bottom to that other person, right? So, but you want to take the third option, which is to go to your true source, go to the infinite, and trust that. So you want to stay inside, because this 31st shadow of arrogance, this is like taking you out of yourself, out of your power, into the external. And remember that even your mind is the external to you. Even your mind is external to you, right? So this is a journey of humility. And the journey of humility is surrendering your ego. The only thing that wants to fight with this other person, let's say, is this retribution, the Five of Wands. I want to get back at that other person, right? They need to pay. They need to be punished. They're not taking accountability, because all this resentment can build and build and build in a Mars retrograde, and then explode out. Okay, so you want to take accountability for yourself. And it's like, okay, there's no victims here, right? that I have to take responsibility for this situation that I find myself in. But now it's time for me to stand up, right? Stand up for myself. And so what are you standing up for? This is like Ace of Pentacles. So this is a new opportunity. This represents a new opportunity for you that's coming, and it's very prosperous, and there's stability. So you don't want to be letting this 31 tell you. So maybe this 31 is telling you, no, you shouldn't do that because blah, 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 and all these logical reasons. And there you go, like yeah, they're right. I'm going to defer my power, right? It's like, no, you want to stand up for this because it's giving you the 10 of Cups. Whatever this opportunity is, it's bringing you happiness. It's bringing you fulfillment and security, emotional stability, and financial stability, right? So you want to be listening to your own self. So that's my sense, MGs. It's like get out of this fighting shadow with shadow and go deep within, and then stand up for yourself in your own happiness, that you don't need this validation from the external, basically, for this. Anything else for the MGs? No. And I would say forgiveness, just because it's the 5th line. So forgiving yourself, forgiving the other person for playing their role. Yeah. And that you can have abundance in all areas of your life, right? All areas of your life. Yeah. So it's just about humbling this ego. Humbling the ego. And this means you're on a spiritual journey, reminding yourself, I'm on a spiritual journey and I'm having these human experiences and I'm growing and evolving, right? Okay. Okay, so that's what I got for the MGs. And projectors. Okay, projectors. So make sure, projectors, if you've just clicked on here, to go check out your astrological sun, moon, or rising too. So we're talking about this Mars in retrograde and the 31st gate, which is a leadership gate. And it's the shadow of arrogance. It's the gift of leadership. And it's the city of humility. So remember that the projectors are the new leaders in this new cross of the sleeping phoenix global cycle. So you're going to learn about leadership here as a guide. Because maybe you don't, like, let me know if you have this natally, the 31, or the 7, or the 1, the 8, or the 13, or the 33. But it doesn't matter if you have it natally. It teaches us. All these gates teach us something. And this one, the 31's teaching us about leadership and the use of language to manipulate and control others, right? That it's a great responsibility to take on that mantle of leadership of others. Okay, so what do the projectors need to know? What do the projectors need to know? Tell me what the projectors need to know. Okay. Oh, interesting. And then what's the guidance for the projectors? What's the guidance for the projectors? Okay. Okay. So the ego card for the projectors for this Mars retrograde transit is you must agree with me. And then the guidance is the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles. So again, this is, you want to check out the twin flame reading too, because this totally smells like twin flame. So you must agree with me, right? So you must validate, which this means you must validate my point of view, right? You must validate my point of view. That's what the ego is telling. Else it's not real. It's not true. So maybe you've been having some intuitive guidance. Maybe you've been listening to your intuition more, projectors. And what you're receiving is pretty out there. Maybe it's pretty out there. And no one around you seems to understand. So you feel a little bit crazy. You may feel a little bit crazy. And all pioneers, because projectors are pioneers. Projectors didn't really come on the scene until 1687, right? This was the discovery of Uranus. That's when the projectors came on the planet. So we're pretty new. I'm a projector too. We're pretty new to the planet, right? So we are a bit out there, a little bit crazy. And pioneers are like that, right? Pioneers are like that. They're like scouts. I really align with the archetype of the scout. And the scout goes first, right? The scout goes first. They're the pioneers for the rest of the types. So the ego is saying, well, you need validation, right? For your point of view, the way that you see. Because remember that projectors are very good at seeing patterns in the other. And maybe you're having some insecurity because Mars in retrograde is going to bring up some insecurity for the projectors, right? Because it's going to be like Mars retrograde in Leo. So think of it as like the opposite, right? Aries, Leo, like Mars rules Aries and Scorpio, right? So this would be like confidence. No, I'm not feeling confident. I'm not feeling like driven. My energy's all over the place. I don't know if I can do this. And then you got the ego there. Nobody's validating you, right? Nobody's validating your point of view. They're not agreeing with what you say. You just guided somebody to the best of your ability, and they're completely in denial of what you said. And this can happen all the time, right? Because this is this 31. 31, right? Arrogance. I know everything, and this is all I know. I know this little tippy top of the iceberg, basically. This is arrogant. I know this, right? I know this. The arrogance. And the ignorance is I don't know this. I have no idea this exists. And then you've got a projector, right? Giving you guidance, which is saying, well, have you looked down here? There's a deeper root, right? There's a deeper root. There's a deeper pattern to why this is happening, because this is the effect, right? So you get some arrogance here. Like, what are you talking about? You're crazy, projector. There's only this. Tell me how to fix this. Tell me how to fix my money problems by what do I need to invest in? Or what kind of job should I get? How can I earn more money? Right? And the projector is like, well, it goes deeper than that, right? This is the arrogance. I just want this, right? So this can bring up some insecurity for the projector because they're not validating my point of view, right? So again, you're fighting shadow with shadow, and you need to trust your inner knowing, right? Especially when that person has opened up their aura to you as a projector, right? Projectors are very masculine in that way. They penetrate with their aura, and then what do they lock into? They're locking into this, the G center of the other. They're locking into the authenticity of the other, and that's what they lock into, and that's what they're guiding, the authenticity of that other type, right? To their authenticity, to the other type's authenticity. That's how they work as a projector. So then you've got this other type that's completely in denial, right? This is not self. They're completely in not self, right? Complete denial of this other thing. Well, you've got to, as a projector, you've got to get strong and to trust your knowingness. And it's like, okay, I guess they're not ready. They're not ready to receive what I've said. But don't listen to the ego. Well, it's not true because they didn't agree with me. Agree with me. See, this can go to people-pleasing again. This one can totally go to people-pleasing because I fear that they're going to reject me. They're going to reject my knowingness. They're going to reject my guidance. And then I'm not going to get any more invitations, right? And then I'm not going to speak the truth. And as soon as you go there, projector, you're out of your power. You're and you're not self, right? When you play this game. So this is just about trusting, right? It's just about trusting. And sometimes you get the validation and sometimes you don't. You just have to trust. I just did my best. In that moment, I did my best to guide the other. And they didn't receive it. Their loss, right? It's not going to stop me from continuing to accept invitations and to guide. Yeah. So remember that nobody can validate your point of view. Nobody can validate your point of view. You're a pioneer. You're a pioneer as a projector. So not everybody's ready for the pioneer. Not everybody's ready for the new. Yeah. So this has to, the guidance here is this is you working with other people. So Mars retrograde is going to get you really, really strong. So look at your astrological too, right? It's going to get you really, really strong in your own sense of self. Your own sense of self. And you need to, this is going to help you to recognize yourself and your gifts and talents, right? So this is about working with other people. Mars retrograde. And that ego that's stopping you from truly working with others. So that's the projector. 1718. And then let's go for the manifestor. So manifestors, we're talking about this Mars retrograde, 31.5. So you want to look at your astrological too, like, oh, I'm a Taurus manifestor, your rising sun, moon. You want to look at that too. That will give you more information. So the 31 is all about leadership. It comes from the leadership channel. The 31.7, it's logical. Right? It's the channel of the alpha. It's the shadow of arrogance. So the shadow of arrogance, this has to do with language. So let's look at your cards and that will give me more information about this. So Mars is retrograde, kicking us off in Leo until January 6th. And it's going to go to February 23rd. But it's starting at the 31st gate here. So collectively, we're going to see a lot of secrets because Mars is opposing Pluto still. So we're going to get a lot of secrets coming out in truth about our leaders, our so-called leaders. Okay. So the manifestors. Let's see what ego card is up there. So this is the journey of humility. So remember, humility is not about a behavior. It's about surrendering your ego to the divine. It's about surrendering your mind to the divine. Okay. So what do we have for the manifestors? What do we have for the manifestors? What do we have for the manifestors? That's stopping the humility. Oh, 2 cards for the manifestors. Oh. This is all about spirituality for you manifestors. It's going to be really true for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising manifestors. Be doubly so. Or even Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising manifestors. Okay. And what's the guidance for the manifestors? Okay. Oh. Okay. So you got spiritual ego. The worst of the egos is the spiritual ego. That's the sneakiest of the ego. And then avoiding soul purpose. So a real spiritual theme for the manifestors. And then the guidance is the 3 of Swords. That's the broken heart. That's the broken heart. And look at that. Right here. So I posted that if you follow me on Telegram and or Instagram and my community page on YouTube, I've just posted this. This is on my website. It's a meditation for a broken heart. It's a powerful Kundalini yoga meditation. Just because you got this, I would suggest practicing that. It works with the heart meridian. Okay. Okay, so back to the manifestors here and this arrogance. So this could be yourself or another person. So this would be the arrogance of, well, I can just put off my spiritual journey, you know? I can procrastinate on it. I can do it, right? So maybe as a manifestor, you've been getting your divine download. How do you work? Your strategies. You got the divine download, and then you share and inform, and then you initiate. Well, I'm getting the divine download, and maybe I will do it. Maybe I won't. Getting kind of flippant. That would be the shadow of arrogance. This would be like your mind talking you out, because this is all about logic, right? So talking you out of your divine download and all the reasons why you shouldn't do this, why you shouldn't even share it with anybody else, why you shouldn't initiate on this. So listening to your mind, this 31st gate. So it doesn't matter if you have this natally or not. We all 64 of these gates we have, but some are activated, some aren't, but we can all relate to them as humans, right? So this would be avoiding your spiritual purpose. And then spiritual ego, that would be this, right? The spiritual ego, I know, right? I know all this. I know this, and I know all this too, right? All this down here. Maybe not even having a clue of what all this is, right? But I know it all, right? I read The Power of Now once. I listened to the audio. I watched one video with Eckhart Tolle on it. I know it all, right? This is spiritual ego. This is the ego is completely hijacked the spirit, and then it's like that I know. As soon as you get into that space as I know, and there's nothing more to learn, right? There's nothing really more to learn than you know that you're in your spiritual ego, or you think that you have all the power, right? That you have all this power. The ego has all this power. That's that shadow of arrogance. So the shadow of arrogance in this case is really taking on the spiritual flavor, right? That 31. So this is like I've got the language, right? Because it's all about manipulating language, words, and concepts to control other people. I've got the language now, right? I've got this language. That's the spiritual ego. It's going to have this like the lexicon of the spiritual language and how I use it and how I manipulate these words, keeping me from my soul purpose. It's keeping me from my soul purpose. So the great thing about life, right? The great thing about life, especially now, is that you will get a humbling, like an ego death, if you stay in this too long, especially if you're a teacher, a manifestor teacher, right? Because power is self-policing. There's no room now for these false teachers. This 31, right? There's no room for these false teachers anymore. These false leaders. When they're not in truth, when they're chasing power. I'm chasing power. I want more money. I want more followers. I want more control in my life. Then no, you're going to come down, right? There'll be a huge humbling that happens, and that's this, right? So either this is happening for you or it will happen. This 3 of Swords. So this is deep heartache, right? Because that's the gift. The arrogance keeps you in your mind and not self. That's the shadow of this gate of influence. But the gift of true leadership, right? Of true leadership and humility is when the heart opens. The heart has to open on the spiritual path. You can't just stay in your head on the spiritual path and think your way through everything. Well, I'm just going to think my way through this shadow. It's not going to work. The heart has to open, right? The heart has to open. So that's what I would suggest, manifestors, is to, especially if you're feeling numb, like, oh, I'm not really feeling anything, I don't really relate to this. That is not a good sign if you're feeling numb and you're not feeling anything right now in your heart. That's a good sign that you have some repressed emotions. And Mars retrograde is going to bring it up, right? It's going to bring it up. It's going to bring up the anger. And then what's under the anger is the fear and the grief, right? And that's the broken heart. Yeah. So yeah, this is a dangerous place to be in, but you're not going to be in there long. I totally trust the divine. Yeah, we're seeing all the power structures collapsing, especially with Pluto moved out of Capricorn, and it's in Aquarius now. Okay. So let's go to the reflectors to finish this off. Okay. I just got this, my white cap. It's part of my uniform. This is an EMF hat. My other ones weren't EMF. I've got black hats that are EMF, but not the white hat. And it feels so good. Yeah, and it protects you from electromagnetic frequencies. It's a good thing to do. And also keep in mind, before I finish this up, is the 2025 Year Ahead webinar series, and I'll be talking about that because the big theme next year is going to be on our health, right? Huge themes. Yeah, so keep that in mind. That's next weekend, and it's a live webinar series, which means we're all together, and it's not just information. It's not me just doing 31 at you. It's like you have a whole experience of frequency and healing. So the webinars are very, very healing because we'll be doing meditations and visualizations and some exercises, and then lots about what's coming. And I'm also incorporating astrology in it too. So you'll be looking at your sun, moon, or rising sign in astrology. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. But I think with Pluto and Aquarius, we're going to have to look at more of frequency, protecting our own frequency from foreign invading frequencies, and that would be EMF. Okay, so reflectors, we're talking about this 31st gate activated by Mars in retrograde, kicking it off, which can bring up some energy, confidence, insecurity can come up. Oh, interesting. And let's see. Reflectors are always interesting. Let me know if you're a reflector, either in the chat or the replay. Okay. There we go. Okay. And what is the reflectors have to know? What do the reflectors have to know? Okay. Okay. Oh, interesting. So you got the reflectors, or the other types too. You got the revenge card, and nihilism, and then the guidance here, the devil card, and the Four of Cups. So nihilism, I want to go, or revenge, the revenge card. This is this Five of Wands, retribution, right? So maybe you're dealing with this arrogance in your life. Somebody in your life is showing you this arrogant shadow, someone that you followed, the 31, the shadow. Remember, this is a genetic. We're programmed as a humanity to follow, not based on merit or integrity, our leaders, right? We're based on this, and it's this genetic imperative to follow, right? And so this is following the wrong people, right? The shadow of arrogance. So this could be like a a teacher or your partner or a parent, somebody in your life where you're under their conditioning field and you're under the spell of this 31. And the 31 is very good at masterful at manipulating language and words and ideas and concepts, right? So there could be like some with Mars retrograde, this is a redo. And it's like, oh, in the past, I had a chance. I had an opportunity, but I didn't take it. That's the 4 of Cups. I had an opportunity to stand up, to speak my truth, but I didn't do it, right? Well, Mars retrograde said you got a second chance now. You got a chance to do a redo-over now, right? Do-over and to stand up to this person. Right? You missed an opportunity, basically. You missed an opportunity, and now it's coming back for you. And this is to stand up with your truth, And so what you do, what I said with the other types, is you don't fight shadow with shadow, because the way it's going to work is there's one that's going to be superior. I'm superior. I'm arrogant. I know everything. I'm so good with language. I can argue circles around you. And then there's the other person who defers their power. Yeah, you're right. Right? You're always right. Right? And just give up your power here. Right? But you don't want to play this game. You don't want to become the superior, arrogant one. Or you don't want to be the one that's deferring. You want to take the third option, which is humility, right? And so this is humbling the ego to the divine. So you want to watch this revenge, Mars in retrograde. The ego, do you remember what they said to you? And they said that about you, and they said that about you, and it's all in the past, right? I'm going to get back at them. I'm going to give them a piece of my mind now. You don't want to be in this energy. That's total error. This is arrogant energy, right? This is arrogant energy. And you're not going to be free from this karmic connection, right? So you want to look, right? Because this is 5th line, 31.5. So it's all about forgiveness during this transit. It's all about forgiveness now, forgiveness of yourself and the other, and letting go of this revenge. This is God. This is the divine's job, not yours, right? For karma, and let the divine take care of that. Nobody escapes from their karma on this planet. So to let go of that, and then the nihilism is just wanting to give up, right? I just want to give up. So it's either or. The ego's got you in like, I want to get revenge, and this is anger. Right? I'm angry because they walked all over me. They stepped up. I'm the victim here. They're the ones. They were the bully. They did this. They did that. You don't want to listen to that. And then you don't want to listen to the other side, which is to give up. That's what the ego said. It's hopeless. It's hopeless. I can't stand up to that person, right? I can never move on from this person. It's like a deep, like life is meaningless energy, right? You don't want to be there because that's where the ego is taking you with Mars in retrograde. Because you may not feel up for it, right? When somebody comes around again, it's like, oh, Michael said that I should stand up, but I just don't have the energy. I feel so limp, right? Because I'm in this Mars retrograde energy, right? Well, you don't give up. Don't give up. All you say is you surrender, humility. The energy will be there. Don't force yourself, right? But don't give up. Never give up. You just say that energy's not right for me right now. This is protecting, right? You're learning about your energy with Mars retrograde. Okay, the energy's here now. It's here to stand. I'm here to stand up. The truth is moving through me. This is the time as the reflector. Right? And as a reflector, you're like the master of this program, right? This program and how it works. So you have to get really good with your frequency, right? Knowing your frequency as a reflector and when to reflect. That's what you're doing. You're going to reflect the truth back to that person. right? And then this is the devil card is fear. So getting over fear of maybe confronting that other person. That's a different energy, isn't it? It's a different frequency than I just want to give up and I feel limp. I'm feeling fearful because I'm about to like break through some kind of karmic cycle. Maybe I've been in this karmic cycle for lifetimes. I'm finally going to break through and step over this, move through the morphogenic field. I'm going to move through the fear and I'm going to confront anyway, right? So can also say this is a codependent relationship that you have to walk out of that has this shadow of arrogance. To not give your power over to another person, right? Yeah. Anything else for the reflectors? I think that's it. Okay, so that's what I have. So remember, the year ahead is coming up next weekend, and I still have the 50% off my recorded readings for Mercury retrograde until December 15th. And that's basic. If you're really new to human design, you can learn about what you need to eat, the type of environment you need to be in, how your intelligence works, how your awareness works, and then your aura type and how your strategy works, right? So that's a really good place to start, and that's on my website too. Okay, so have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you in the next video. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and please leave your comments. I love reading each and every one. Okay, Sa Nam Aloha, everybody. Bye-bye.